He did not enact enough violence on one person. Okay, they were like, that's weak, that's pussy. What are you talking about? Okay, for those of you who are about to watch this, I need to warn you that there will be mentions of sexual assault, pretty bad mentions of sexual assault. So if that is something that triggers you, for real, not being sarcastic or anything, if that is a trigger of yours, if that is something that you do not want to see or be made aware of currently, I would advise you, if you're watching on Twitch, this would be a good time to maybe take a break for 10 or 20 minutes and go do something else. If you are on YouTube, this is your warning to click off the video. Anyway, so cops, they're not great. They're not very good. I don't like them. I made this known in my last YouTube video, which I will now shill because I can. If you have not watched my last YouTube video where I go over Steven Crowder's criticisms of female cops, now is the time to go watch it. Well, not now. Watch this video first, but, you know, go watch it after that, right? So, cops kind of suck, right? But the thing is, cops have to stop the criminals. They got to stop the bad guys, right? Bad guys are getting really powerful these days. And just look at what they're doing. The bad guys are training for this shit, okay? How do you expect to stop this madness, without cops, without a strong police force? There's no stopping them without police. You can't do it. Look at them. They're units. There's no stopping this. This is why we need our boys in blue to protect us, right? Why can't I hear it? Well, whatever. So this is why it's vitally important that you know, we employ as many cops as possible and make sure that we're just jam-packed full of police officers. That is, unless the police officers are the ones committing the crime. And typically, more often than not, this is the case. Ironic that, right? This segment is just going to be a look at a few of the things that I found that have just recently happened. So this first one is not something that happened recently. This is from 2014. Nonetheless, I've came across it recently and I wanted to add it to this queue because I like the message. To understand how cops' priority is their own power, not public safety, this story of a cop arresting a firefighter for parking wrong while the firefighter was trying to save lives is a clear explainer, right? So in case you are under any illusions that the cops are here to protect you, let that be cleared from your mind and let your mind be enlightened by this new knowledge. This will explain much of their behavior if you understand this.
A CHP officer handcuffs a Chula Vista firefighter on the scene of a crash. And tonight we're hearing the reaction over the radio as the incident escalated. Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Barbara Lee Edwards.
And I'm Carlo Cicchetto. One of our cameras was rolling as all this happened, and today both agencies met to talk it over.
CBS News 8's Abby Alford is live in our newsroom with the fallout. Abby?
Barbara Lee and Carlo, CHP will not give us information about who this officer is or if he's been reprimanded for cuffing a firefighter during a rollover accident in Chula Vista last night on the 805 near Telegraph Canyon Road and East Orange Avenue. But we are told before this dispute, CHP has threatened to arrest other area firefighters for not moving their trucks out of the lane block.
Listen, if there's one group of people that we need protection from, it's definitely the firefighters, right, guys? Those dangerous, dangerous firefighters. Oh, give me the shivers.
Traffic, but our cameras caught the first area firefighter slapped with cuffs. Thousands of comments on the CBS News.
Oh, what is that quality? This has to be Twitter, right? Fuck you, Twitter.
Outrage
Fix your
about
shit.
A handcuffed firefighter in Chula Vista.
Hey, I just wanted to, he's arrested me.
Chula Vista firefighter Jacob Gregg walked
awesome.
for his supervisor.
I love that.
CBS News 8 has this heated exchange between the veteran firefighter and an unnamed CHP officer about the safety of where the fire truck is parked during a rollover accident.
Now listen, call me crazy, but as a nurse, we learned about priorities. We were really big on that. I feel like there's a priority bigger here than the parking job done by the firefighters. I feel like there's maybe a few things more important than that at this point in time. Just a thought.
like this. We're on the road trying to help you.
We asked you to clear the road, and you said no, and you'll get arrested and start moving it.
CHP has guidelines to safely clear the road, but you see, it's up for debate who was in the...
We asked you to move the vehicle. You said no. So now we're arresting you. Why the fuck is a firefighter being arrested for saving people? Because this is not about saving people for the police. This is about exerting their own power over other people. It doesn't matter who those people are. It can be other fucking police officers. We've seen that recently. They will exert their own power over each other and self-cannibalize if it means that they get to be the big swinging dick at the top.
Wrong legally. Firefighters say they park at an angle to protect emergency
Is that cop
crews,
on weed?
patients,
No,
and
that's just
drivers.
a cop being a cop.
With patients on the freeway, they're putting him in handcuffs at this time and walking him away.
We spoke to the union president for Chula Vista Fire, who says
Cops hate firefighters? I mean, they have opposite jobs. Firefighters save people and cops, well, you know.
Gregoire did the right thing to protect the public.
I'm very proud of Jake. He made all firefighters look good in that situation because he was there to protect the citizens, and he was willing to take a stand to do that.
This isn't the first time a firefighter's been detained. We found it happened in Santa Barbara involving a CHP and a firefighter. In Missouri, a firefighter...
Yeah, cops torture people, if not kill them. Yeah, it's really gross. So, again, that was from 2014. I think that this guy's explanation is really good. Want to frame this as an explainer, not breaking news, both because it happened back in 2014 and because it's such a clear example of cops' priorities. We see this type of thing all the time, but rarely as clearly as this story. Here, not listening to the cop is a violation that must be addressed urgently. It takes priority over the firefighter trying to save lives. We see this frequently. At protests, cops will often stop medics from stepping in when people are injured because teaching protesters the lesson that you don't mess with cops is more important than that person's health or well-being or even life. It's true. It's true. This is why we see cops exerting their power even at the expense of life and safety. Okay? That's what happens. All right. With that in mind, with that intimate knowledge now in your skulls, right? Now we can move on to more current things. I have a few stories I want to show you guys. First and foremost, just as an appetizer, right? Just a little treat, little snack that you can sink your teeth into. Cop claims the following footage was, quote, taken out of context, and he had no choice but to use force. You decide for yourself. Let's take a look and see if we can exonerate this cop.
The captain at the Franklin County Sheriff's Office lost his job over this. He's accused of officer misconduct after video showed him...
Okay, so he lost his job over this, which, you know, we'll watch first.
...kicking a man in handcuffs. The sheriff fired John Grismore, a longtime law enforcement officer who disputes the allegations against him and says the video has been taken out of context. And he's still running for the department's top job. John Grismore is breaking out of context and joins us now. Thank you for being here.
Great. Thank you, Darren. Thanks for having me.
Here's the asshole himself.
You got it. So you're disputing the allegations, but the video seems to show the kick. So what is your defense in what happened that day?
Police officers are permitted to use force when necessary. And it's not.
I was allowed to do it. My buddy said I could do it. My buddy did it. Why didn't he get in trouble?
Not something that most of us like to do, but it's the inevitable reality of the job that we're in, that sometimes we have to use force. And so my application of force.
How many divorces is he on? I think you can tell by the rings on his eyes. It looks about 4 or 5 at this point. Was
the minimum amount of a force that was required, in my opinion, based on the facts and circumstances that were presented to me.
This is an interesting variant of cop, though. Usually you can only tell by the number of chins that they have what divorce they're on. So unique in that respect, I will be honest.
At the time, to stop an assault from happening, right? So as I've stated, and as the video shows, the individual that we were dealing with was attempting to spit at me, which is an assault by statute.
He was not.
Has its own law enacted, a number of years ago to differentiate that from just a standard simple assault.
Yeah, so it wasn't your standard average assault. It was a cop assaulting him, so it was actually fine. Let's watch it again and see where the spitting takes place, by the way.
A captain at the Franklin over conduct over this. He's accused of officer misconduct.
Look at that. He steps in unprovoked.
Accused of officer misconduct.
Unprovoked.
Video showed him kicking a man in handcuffs. The sheriff fired John Grismore, a longtime law enforcement officer who disputes.
Okay, you know what? It looked like he may have been about to spit him right here, but he's not the one who aggravated. He's not the one who escalated the situation. So you know what? I kind of wish he'd gotten spitting on. You know? I think he deserved it. Would have been deserved. So yeah, he lost his job actually. That's surprising because typically you get a nice little paid vacation for a stunt like that, right? All right, let's look at another one. This is yet another appetizer. We're not to the main course just yet. Irving police investigating the use of force in breaking up fight at Nimitz High School. Interesting content here. If we don't show cops their place, this is what happens. Hey, you mean by voting, right? By voting, of course, is what Wolf of Coronado meant. Okay, guys. Okay, just keep that in mind. But yeah, look at this. It's just like WWE'd him into a fucking table. This kid's like 16. Are you kidding me? Wholly and entirely unnecessary. There's another angle that this happens at too that it's like better. Because like this is again unprovoked. This is an unnecessary move right here. Just like slams him into a lunch cart. Insane. After kid got up, he was calm and not active. The cop still got physical with minors. Take the belt and badge off and square up with an actual adult. Yeah. I didn't think cops went into schools. I thought they just tailgate outside of them while crime happens inside. Owned. But yeah. So, I don't know what happened to the cops in this circumstance, but I do know what happened to them in the next circumstance. Now, recall, this guy lost his job. These cops, however, got a paid vacation. Why? Let's take a look. Police abandoned handcuffed woman in squad car parked on tracks as train approaches. Ureni Rios Gonzalez, 20, suffered 9 broken ribs, broken arm, broken teeth, head, back, and leg injuries as cops fled. Paid leave for the cop. Oh, good. A nice little paid vacation. Why? Because they literally did the villain trope from like 50 years ago. They fucking strapped. They might as well have just tied her down with rope. I mean, look at this shit.
What's going on?
Again, trigger warning for violence.
No one else is in the truck, sir. Can I please?
Car accident, whatever, what have you.
What's going on? I'll tell you in a second. I'm so confused. Can I get my seat? I will get your.
So they park the squad car on train tracks. Why? You never do that. This is shit you learn like at the latest when you're 15. At the a fucking kindergartner could tell you why it might be a bad idea to park your car on train tracks. Why that might not be the best place to put a car.
Toss it out the window?
She could have out that window, but who is that? Hart?
No, that's
They hear the train coming, dude. Ignored all the warning signs. Run away while the woman's still in the car.
Status medical emergent. The suspect was in the vehicle that was hit by the train.
Jesus Christ. Jesus. I'm surprised she's alive, frankly. I think those cops should be tried for attempted murder. They should be tried for attempted murder. They didn't even lose their fucking jobs. They didn't even get unpaid leave. No, that's a paid vacation, baby. See, here's the problem. This cop didn't do good enough. He did not enact enough violence on one person. Okay, they were like, that's weak shit. That's pussy shit. Pfft, what are you talking about? This cop, on the other hand, they were like, that's a spicy meatball. That's a good one. Oh, yeah. Hey, you know what? Paid vacation for that one, dude. That's very good. Very good. Abolish the police? Yeah, well, wouldn't that be nice? If we could only live in such a world. Okay. Now, speaking of spicy shit, this is where it's going to unironically get very spicy. I want to reiterate, if you have a weak stomach for sexual assault, this next part is not for you. Turn off the stream. And if you were not heeding my warning at the beginning of the YouTube video, heed it now. All right. That being said, these next parts are not going to be funny or fun at all. Convicted Missouri cop blamed police job for child pornography addiction. On Thursday, August 25th, 2022, ex-Maryland Heights police officer Nicholas H. Hagloff, 30, was sentenced to 4 years in prison for viewing hundreds of child pornography images, composite by Coffee or Die magazine. So yeah, he blamed his job. He's like, it was all just right there, man. It was just right there. I couldn't resist it. What? I'm arresting, like... This was the guy that they specifically assigned to the people who were owning the child porn. They're like, he does such a good job. Like he does such a good job. Like to keep putting him on these cases. And then he's snorting a little bit of that himself. And you gotta get a little hit of that. What would you say is your biggest flaw? Sometimes they take my job home from me or home with me. Yeah. Oh, this was in response to Mr. Oz here. Proud to be endorsed by the Philly FOP. I will always back Pennsylvania's men and women in blue and support policies that keep our streets safe. And then this happened, which is great. By the way, besides the firefighter incident, this is all just like from very recently, just so you all know. All right. So yeah, he did get jailed for that. 4 years. I think he deserves longer for literally being in possession of child pornography. But, that's just me. I don't write the laws. So, next one is somehow even worse. MA cop Matthew Farrell raped Sandra Birchmore from the age of 13 when she joined the Police Young Explorers program. At the time of her death last year by apparent suicide, she was pregnant with his baby. He was the last person to see her alive. I don't think there's a depth of hell low enough for this person. I truly don't. This is the height of disgusting. It's unsalvageable. It's unsalvageable. This is insane. Just awful. A new internal affairs report says Matthew's twin brother William and their supervisor Robert Devine also had, quote, multiple inappropriate physical encounters, end quote, with Sandra. And in fact, that William was trying to pimp her out from the time she was a child. Matthew Farrell is a former police union president. In his interview with state police, he said that he knew that Sandra had a troubled life and felt bad for her. Sandra never really knew her father, and her mother and grandmother who raised her both died when she was a teenager. Even after being preyed on by these men, Sandra, and before she died, her mother, praised the Explorers program, a form of trauma bonding, I guess. In 2019, Sandra took the civil service exam so she could qualify to become a police officer. All 3 cops resigned from the Stoughton PD after Sandra's death. The Internal Affairs report recommends that they be decertified, meaning they couldn't be rehired as cops in MA. Criminal charges are up to the DA. If they're not charged for this, I might actually go insane. This is unbelievably disgusting. Just reprehensible, the scum of the earth. I could spit. Given the incestuous relationship between police and prosecutors, especially here, these would seem unlikely. In any case, criminal prosecutions don't change police culture. Correction, it is Matthew and William Farwell, not Farrell. Okay. Also, this entire thread should have had a content warning. I'm normally very conscientious about that. I did include that. I did. Okay. So just keep that in mind. Someone asked below what we can do. We cannot bring Sandra Birchmore back. So what does justice look like in this case? I know for some people it is prosecution. I think more than anything else, it means making sure police officers like this cannot be prey upon children anymore. Youth Explorers and other police programs are not safe for children, and we shouldn't fund them, to say the least. It is dangerous to have police in schools, whether as school safety officers or to teach children about drugs. It's not just that police don't stop crime, they cause children harm. Could not agree more. This is a prime example of somebody who has a position of power exploiting that over the powerless. It's disgusting. It is the root of evil. And this is why you get people crying for us to abolish the police. And I agree. I think in many ways the police need to be abolished. I think they need to be reformed from the ground up. There is a sickness that the police are infested with that just jumps from one to the rest of them. I'm not saying that every police officer would do what this guy did. I think this is an extreme example, but the fact that it is this common, this is not an isolated situation. Let's put it that way. I don't have stats in front of me, etc., but this is not an isolated situation. This is a sickness that runs rampant through the police force. It's power. They are all power driven, and it's got to stop. We've got to put an end to it. This is why it's so vitally important to implement limits on police power and ensure that they cannot hurt innocent people like this. Children, adults, Black people, white people, doesn't matter. It's I could say many things about it, but it's not okay. So yeah, and that's all I got to say about that. So if you made it all the way through this part of the video, I'd like to extend my appreciation for you watching. I understand that especially at the end, it was not easy, but I feel that this stuff is important to discuss. It is important to air this out in the open and make sure that people know that this is what's happening in our police force. It's so important, okay? I don't really hold back when it comes to this kind of stuff. I feel like I just said, it's important for both police work and for other fields that I talk about. If you would like to see more of that, of what I talk about on this channel, I would appreciate if you would subscribe, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, hit the bell if you want to be notified when I upload, and also leave a comment with your thoughts. I will not be leaving a question for this video. I will just encourage you guys to, if you are still for some reason pro-police, really take a minute to go and look at the stats. Really take a minute to go and look at some of these individual circumstances, right? The overwhelming evidence shows us how monstrous these people can be and how they are not on our side. They're just not. Police are not here for us. So if you're watching this video and you are under that impression, even after all of that, I highly encourage you to do some introspection, do some research, and figure this shit out, okay? Because this is not okay. This can't continue. Thank you again for watching. I hope to see you in my chat if you are not already here, and I will see you in the next video as well.